Welcome to Market Day Report. Welcome to a Tuesday. I'm Tony St. James. How about we jump into the market, see how corn is trading? And how is corn trading on the heels of a flash sale overnight? 124,000 metric tons, unknown destinations. Talking earlier with Sam Hudson, Sam said, well, these sales are good, but until we deliver it, we can't bank on it. So December corn, again, taking the information in, 417 3/4. That's a penny and a quarter higher, 1 cent higher on the March at 431. No reports of overnight sells in beans, but 5.5 higher on the front month at 992 3/4. January now on the 10 handle. Now to the wheat market. We'll start with Chicago. July 602 1/4. It's down 2 1/4 and a tick off the day's low. For hard red, the July contract is a tick above $6, trading a penny and a half lower. And Minneapolis, December, up 2 1/4, bucking the trend, 607 1/4. And the New York cotton futures continue to struggle, 69.69 on the December, and that's off 24. And I'll throw in the crude oil market as well. We talked about this last hour. When you see a rally in crude, a lot of times you'll see a rally in the cotton market as well. The idea, man-made fibers made with crude. Chris Swift is with Swift Trading in studio with us, and I know you've been watching energy.
I have. You know, we look at things that are already done for the year. We've already harvested all of our crops. We have really high prices for cattle and feeder cattle that we have hedged into. Now we look at what can happen in 2025. Well, we've got relatively low grain prices still. We've already gone through harvest. I don't expect a lot of selling pressure going forward, and there may not be any buying to it, but we're kind of sticking at the lows right now. And if we look at the carry out to the July contract, it's very small. So if you needed to own something out there, why not own the July corn calls? Now I'm protected in price. Basis I might have to deal with. I could always get a basis contract. And a lot of that may be due to some energy. I'm under the impression that energy may rally and rally relatively sharply. Then we see corn and bean oil as biofuels come into a little bit of an indirect benefit of what the energy prices may be.
You know, you mentioned bean oil, and that's a market that's up 6.6% this week. Month over month, it's 3.8% higher. And as I look at the trend right now, December trading down 50 at 45.06, and the January at 45.07 off 44. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back in a moment. We'll talk livestock futures. Market Day Report continues in a moment. Well, Market Day Report here on a Tuesday, Election Day. And we're electing to go to live cattle futures this morning. That's where we'll start, up 25 cents on the December contract, 185.32. February contract picking up some votes, up 32 now at 186 1/4. How about the feeders? The feeders are higher, at least in the front 2 months. November dime higher, 246.45. January up 1/4, unchanged on March, while April and May now are in the red. And what about the hog market? Hogs have been up 22.4% year to date, but the question now, have we hit our highs? December off at $1.85, 81.37, and the February down $1.15 at 84.17. Chris Swift is with Swift Trading. Okay, Chris, what jumps out there?
Well, two things really quick. The hogs, this is 16 days in a row that hog futures have been up there, made a new high on there. But the index right at about a 50% retracement level of the decline that it had the first of this year. So you asked about topping in hogs. Yeah, it's probably pretty close to it. And with a little bit of a negative basis out there, especially in the back end of it, producers can lock in a little bit higher price than what's available. In the cattle market, there's just not much going on. We have equal number of cattle on feed than we had this time last year. We have equal beef production as we did this time last year. So everything has to go out into the future now to try to find a direction, and there still may not be one. So again, I go back to let's fix some of those input costs. That's where I know that I have variations in. I've already hedged my cattle. They're at the top end of the range, and they may go higher, and I hope they do. But if they don't, I'm not worried about it. What I am worried about, what if corn slips up just a little bit? What if diesel fuel really does start to slip up? And we're already setting new highs from 2 weeks ago when we made that real fantastic rally up, sold it off sharply on that Sunday night opening. We're already back above those highs again.
What about feeders? I mean, we keep an eye on feeders, and feeders can, that thing can turn in a matter of minutes. Sure. on a feeder. Where are they right now as we head into this, well, into late fall and into winter?
Well, cattle feeders right now seem to have ample, plenty cattle on feed. We're 11.6 million head from the last cattle on feed report that we had, and we don't see them being very aggressive. We have traded the feeder cattle index between 248 and 251 for a month and a half now. So they're not being real aggressive. They're just able to buy cattle steady. Fewer cattle showing up this time of the year, which is going to be real interesting. We've discussed this drought a couple of different times. If we begin to see greater movement in the months of November and December, then we know we're kind of stocking up on fat cattle into the March, April time frame of next year. So in all honesty, it's going to be difficult to get out of the current beef production that we're in unless something dramatic happens.
And one other thing to keep in mind, with the dry conditions, I know they picked up some rainfall in the south, but dry conditions in a lot, BRD, that bovine respiratory disease, now you're starting to deal with some health issues as well. So that's how we start our Tuesday morning. And so good we elected Chris Swift to join us here at the desk.
Absolutely. Always great to see you here. And of course, that drought is a big concern, right? And that's something that we're going to continue to keep an eye on. Yep. But I wonder, is it going to be in time to really make a difference anytime soon?
Well, we're not really concerned about it just yet. Really what it would do is filling ponds right now. Fill the ponds back up a little bit, subsoil moisture. But as far as anything really growing, not this time of the year.
Okay. Thank you, guys. As always, a pleasure.